What's up, everybody? Betty versus the Penny is back. Week number 5 is here. I'm one of the hosts. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for dropping on in this fine Friday afternoon. If you'd like to subscribe to the show, make sure you hit that little notification at the bottom as well. You get all the updated information from Ben and myself as the week goes along. And of course, you can look back on the weeks that was. Speaking of that, Ben got off to a pretty decent start, taking care of business in week number 5, Thursday Night Football with the Rams and the Geno Smith-led Seattle Seahawks. For more on that, what is up, Big Ben? Good morning. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. I just woke up and we were watching the White Sox and the Astros, watching that game. But this is a football podcast, and I had the Rams last night against Seattle, so I'm feeling pretty good. I think we're in week 5. I think I'm like 4-1 or something like that on Thursday night NFL games. So I've done pretty well on that. Have to go back and check the record, but the Rams down at halftime with Matthew Stafford come back and get the win, put the whammy on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. So nice win there to start the week. And now we have a game in London this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, overall, last weekend, there were a couple of bad beats that screwed me up. So I'm kind of – yeah, we put it up there. There it is. But I did win primetime games. I won the primetime games, which is the more important game. See, the Thursday game at Jacksonville and Cincinnati, right? And also the Sunday night game, the Bucks and Patriots.
But your 2 5-star games got absolutely decimated.
I know.
Fuck.
Right. Well, Sam Darnold had back-to-back interceptions in the second half. He had that Jets-itis that popped back up. Terrible. But overall, I'm one game ahead of the Penny. One game. And you see, I'm like the New Orleans Saints there. If you look at that record side by side. Good week, shit week, good week, shit week. So that means I am due for a good week here, guys.
All right.
This is going to be a good week.
Well, I'm a little encouraged because last week you had a certain team at home against the league MVP, and they looked awful at home. I mean, how emasculating is that to have Kyler Murray run up and down the field and put 30-plus points on the board against your Rams defense? I mean, he outshined Matthew Stafford. Oh.
Yeah, it's the way I would analogize it. It's similar to when you were in school and you were getting ready to fight the big bully in school, and then Peppermint Patty came over and wanted to fight you, and you're like, I don't want to fight Peppermint Patty. I want to fight the big bad bully. And so that was really the Rams. They wanted to fight the big bad bully. They obviously did not try against the Cardinals. I mean, Sean McVay owned them, and my favorite part of that is when the Rams don't do well, or your favorite guy, the guy that drives the short bus, ends up having a good game. You are all over me, but I did not have a single message during the Ram game against Seattle. I thought for sure at halftime I was going to get a Gascon text barrage. I can't believe you're losing to Seattle. What's up with that? Matthew Stafford looks washed up. I didn't get any of those messages. You're a fraud. All right? I'm telling you.
There's one thing you will never get from me, Ben. That's an early release. So game's obviously 60 minutes. You're not getting anything early from me. I don't know what you've heard, what you've been told, but
in the mountain time zone, it will be different. I'm just saying. Just saying.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, does that mean because obviously your sleep schedule is a little bit different. Does that mean you're getting your butt up? How early are you getting up for this Jets-Falcons game in London?
Oh God, no! Well, if it was somebody I had interest in, now I have zero interest in Atlanta, marginal interest in the Jets. That is essentially playing a game for the layperson. That's the overnight. Like typically on a Sunday, I got to be up all night Sunday into Monday. I get up usually for the end of the first games, and I'm ready obviously for the late games and the Sunday night games. So I typically don't watch the first half of the NFL card on most Sundays. just because I can. And so I will watch starting in the second half. I usually wake up about halftime for the early games, and then I'll watch the second half. That's normally how it goes. But are we ready to handicap? Let's do it.
We are. We're on the clock. We are on the clock, so let's get it and move.
And before we get started here, I know most of the people watch this on delay. We have the P1s like Alf, the Alien Opiner, Justin in Cincinnati, Jay Scoop, the Giants fan. How dare a Giants fan, an SF Giants fan show up here? How dare you? Anyway, all those guys, the regulars, the hardcore guys, Matt, the Warrior Raider A's fan. I see some of you guys in the chat room, but most people watch this on demand. So thumbs up, whether you're watching live or on demand. Yeah. Give us the old thumbs up there. That helps us out a lot. Tell a friend also. And this is just a labor of love, Gascon, right at this point. Now, at some point, we'll have endless commercials, and we'll have sponsors everywhere, and you'll be complaining, I can't believe what happened at Benny versus the Penny. I missed it when I missed the old days when it was on YouTube, and and we had no sponsors. Well, enjoy this because it's not going to last forever. Yes?
That's what you taught me. You taught me the one important thing with radio is actually not your content. It's about the commercials during the middle of the content because that's what keeps the lights on. So
yes, and John Sterling, the man that effed up. We love John on the podcast. He screwed up the home run call with Giancarlo Stanton. But John Sterling, you got to learn from your elders. He's 83 years old, and he said the most important part, you got to sell the soap. You got to sell the soap. So we will be doing that. But let's get to it. Sunday, you see it there, the New York Jets and the Atlanta Falcons, a matchup of teams coming into this game with 1-3 records in London. It'll be a 9:30 Eastern kickoff on a state-sponsored NFL network. They have the CBS broadcast crew, Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta, have the call. Now, the Falcons opened up a 4-point favorite, and they are a 3-point favorite. There's not a lot of gambling interest on this game. I wonder if our guy Terry in England is going to make his way to this game or not. I know Terry was educating me on the fan base. He says a lot of corporate people go to these games. My experience, the games in London, this is at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
Temperatures in the 60s at kickoff. I'm going to take the Jets in this game. I actually like the Jets as a mildly good pick to start here. Zach Wilson, we finally saw what he could do against a second-rate defense. Tennessee's defense is terrible, and they had a bunch of guys out, and Zach Wilson actually looked like he knew what he was doing. He didn't look like he was back in college, but he averaged almost 9 yards per attempt last week. He only had one interception. For him, the way he had started, that was a great improvement. And I'm expecting a similar type performance here, even though he's crossing the Atlantic, Zach Wilson, and oh my God, the travel. But the Falcons secondary is very accommodating, and Atlanta is 21st in pass defense. They're only a couple of yards a game better than Tennessee statistically. And then the other side, listen, Matt Ryan should be able to throw against the Jets. Their defensive secondary sucks also. But the key here for the Jets is the front line there. And this is a good front of that Jets defense. They had 7 sacks, 14 quarterback hits last week against the Titans. They're not going to have those numbers here, but just a couple of times getting to Matt Ryan, throwing Matt Ryan off this week. These teams, they're very similar, and you got 2 underwhelming teams. You take the points here. Atlanta 1-5 outright and against the spread as a favorite since the start of last year. The Jets get their second win in a row. I can't wait to read the tabloids who will say the Jets are back. Jets 26, Falcons 23.
Penny's writing on this one, going with the New York Jets. No Calvin Ridley in this game. He's out for what they call personal reasons.
Yes, personal reasons, which is he does not have his passport. Is that no?
Which passport?
I know. Well, when the Dodgers used to go to Montreal, occasionally there would be some idiot that forgot their passport, and so I don't. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something more than that. Anyway, Miami at Tampa Bay. Be careful. This is one of my picks of the week. It's the big game. It's the big game on CBS. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. My guy, Tony Romo. I'm a Romo-sexual. Will be there. And the matchup here, Bucks favored, opened by 9.5. They're favored by 10. Temps in the high 80s. and sunny intervals. What does that mean? Sunny intervals, it says in the forecast.
It means like it'll go overcast to sunny, sunny to overcast, I would imagine.
All right. Okay.
It's Miami. It's Tampa. Who knows?
Your AccuWeather forecast. That's at Raymond James Stadium. And the pick, I'm taking the Dolphins plus the 10 points in this game. Here's why. I go by the mind part of this a lot as well. The mental betting angles, right, on who's gonna show up, who's not gonna show up. The Buccaneers won the game of the year last weekend. I can't believe it's only last weekend. They beat the Patriots thanks to the field goal bouncing away there for the Patriots at the end. They're not going to come out with the same energy. Why would you against this Dolphin team? Tom Brady was wobbly against a Belichick defense. Well, who is the disciple of Belichick defensively? Brian Flores, the Dolphins coach. He uses the Belichick playbook, and he's been very good at that. Miami, if you look at the numbers here, the last 6 times they have been a double-digit underdog under Brian Flores. They're 5-1 against the spread. The last 6 is a double-digit underdog. And they have no offense. I'm not sitting here telling you that you love Jacoby Brissett. He blows. He has absolutely sucked. On the other side there for the Dolphins, he's been guilty of football malpractice. However, I can overlook that because Tampa Bay's secondary is a punchline at this point, and they continue to be terrible. They're signing washed-up guys out of the Washington State police blotter, Richard Sherman, who's washed. The Buccaneers also have the NFL, in addition to the worst pass defense, they have a terrible stat with Bruce Arians. Since he took over as a home favorite, since becoming head coach there in Tampa, the Buccaneers, with Bruce Arians coaching, are 4-8-1 against the spread. So they have not been a good home favorite. The Dolphins have been a very good bet when you're getting a double-digit points. And just in general, when you get double digits, you got to like it. So the final score, Buccaneers 27, Dolphins get the cover 20.
Penny's going with Tampa Bay in this one. You know, Miami is 7-1 against the spread following a straight-up loss.
Yeah, they've done pretty well, and they did cover. They got that weird, funky backdoor cover against the Raiders. Remember that with the overtime?
Fucking overtime game, yeah.
Yeah, you needed like a player running backwards to win. Man, I see some of the guys in the chats, Gascon. Just Josh, right? He says, Terry said he has BLM protest to attend, so I guess he will not be at the game on Sunday. Who else do we have? Page down here, page down. Alf, the alien opiner, stunned that I'm taking the fish, the Miami Dolphins. And so anyway, all right, let's move on here. Philadelphia, the next game at Carolina, and it's on Fox. Joe Davis and Greg Olson have the call on this. Philly, you see the record there. For the Eagles, 1-3. They put up a lot of offense last week against Kansas City. Carolina, 3-1. The Panthers opened a 4-point favorite. They are favored by 3. So this was originally going to be one of my locks, my 5-star picks of the week, and I took it off at the last minute. I'll tell you why in a second, but this is a big bounce-back week for the Panthers. I think they're a slightly above-average team. I love the fact – I did a monologue on the fact they traded for Stephon Gilmore. He's not going to play in this game. But I love when teams go for it. I love when teams are like, hey, we have a chance here to make the playoffs. Let's try to make the playoffs rather than this nonsense. We'll just stand pat. And the Carolina Panthers went for it. Now, last week, I had Carolina as my pick and my pick of the week, and they effed me over. Sam Darnold, they're doing very well at halftime, and Sam Darnold comes out and back-to-back drives, Gascon. Interception. He hands the ball to Dallas deep in Panthers territory. I think both were inside the 40-yard line of Carolina, and those were easily monetized into points, and that changed the whole trajectory. If that's a word. Trajectory, is that the right word?
Trajectory?
That's the word I was looking for. It's early. Of the game there. But Carolina, they held Dak Prescott to less than 200 yards passing. Now, they did not stop Zeke Elliott, which is a problem. But I look at the Eagles as your classical bad team. They'll put up some numbers that are meaningless numbers. Jalen Hurts had a great stat line, and I'm not telling you not to play him in fantasy football because he runs. And if you play a soft defense, he'll put up some numbers. He had 110 yards in the fourth quarter, but I'm not going to rip him. He actually did well. The Chiefs' defense is garbage, and the Eagles got into Kansas City territory, I think, every time except the time that Hurts threw the interception. But I'm going to go against the Sharps this week. They're on Philadelphia. And the only reason this is not a 5-star lock is the Sam Darnold factor. He's good for 1 or 2 interceptions here, Gascon, and I can't deal with it. I can't handle, waking up, Carolina's got the lead, they're covering the spread, and then Darnold starts pooping his pants. I can't handle that. But I do think the Panthers will win and cover. Anyway, Panthers 24, Eagles 20, the final.
Penny also going with Carolina. Philadelphia 1-7 on the road against the spread in their last 8 games. So, what, Carolina's going to have Sam Darnold lead the league in rushing touchdowns or what?
Whatever works, right? Well, it's just like the 1-yard dive, right? The 1-yard quarterback dive, mostly from Sam. All right, next. How annoying is that? You think about all the great running quarterbacks, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, guys like that, and Sam Darnold has the record for the first 2 weeks of the season for rushing touchdowns. All right, next up, New Orleans. 2-2, and they take on Washington. That's the last game on this part of the graphic on the big screen there. So CBS has it. Spiro Dedes and Jay Feely have the call. Now, this game opened a pick 'em. The Saints have gone all the way up to a 2-point favorite. Again, sunny intervals. Gascon's favorite forecast. Temperatures in the high 60s at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. And this is another game that originally I was like, I'm going to circle this game as a pick of the week, and I took it off. But I do like the Saints in this game. I'm going to take the Saints. New Orleans, as much like my picks on Benny versus the Penny, they've gone good week, bad week, good week, bad week. They've had a lot of injuries that have started to tear down the roster. And I question the depth of the New Orleans Saints based on those injuries because the backups have not been getting the job done. I know they still don't have Michael Thomas. He won't be back, at least for a little while longer here. But this matchup against Washington's defense should bode well for New Orleans. You've seen the numbers, Gascon. The Washington defense was supposed to be a top 5 defense. They're 29th in the NFL.
Awful.
They're giving up 417 yards per game. And you look at the comps on this. Now, the thing about the Saints, and people have forgotten about Jameis Winston, this is a great reminder that if you get off to a good start, you can suck at your job for a couple weeks and people will let you do your thing, right? Because remember Winston had the 5 touchdowns in the opener against the Green Bay Packers. And
like 145 yards, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the 5 touchdown thing was awesome. And so since that game, the last 3 weeks, Jameis Winston has 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a passer rating of less than 86.
Ugh.
He's essentially Jared Goff at this point. He's an average baseline quarterback. He's averaging 7 yards per attempt. And it got so bad. If you saw the game last week, Winston threw this deep pass that was called a touchdown. Then they took it off the board because of penalty. And so then Sean Payton went in he said, let me put Taysom Hill in. And Hill, on the very next play, threw a long pass that was intercepted. But that being said, I am going with the Bayou Boys. I just don't like the Washington defense. They won last week against Atlanta because of some special teams issues that the Falcons had and also penalties for Atlanta. I think the Saints, cleaner team here. New Orleans, 27. And the football team, 4-0.
Penny's going with the Washington football team. Saints 1-6 in the last 7 matchups against Washington against the spread. So it's going with the home team in this one.
All right. Dan writes and he says, don't worry, YouTube, the only drugs we condone are vaccines. Hail Fauci. That's from yeah. How do you feel about that, Gascon? We're on the YouTube platform here. Does that bother you? Okay with that? Are you allowed to do this? You're in LA. Are you allowed to do this?
Yeah. I don't need a passport to enter my home studio yet.
I'm good. You're not at Starbucks. This is good. Last week, good hustle by Gascon. He went to Starbucks.
There you go. And it still brought it in. For you. So I do have some bad news for you as we tail into the second slate of games. Astros had the bases loaded and they just popped in too, so they're tied up with Chicago 4-4. Yes, bad news to start your morning.
I have laser-like focus here, Gaskin. I'm gonna compartmentalize. I'm focused on football, and I will flip on the baseball game as soon as this ends. I will turn it on, but not a second before then, because we have handicapping to do right now.
It's fine.
We'll do it live. All right. Next up, you see the game on the board there, Tennessee at Jacksonville, the Urban Meyer game of the week. And really, this is, for both coaches, a must-win situation, or at least for Urban, a must-show-up situation. On CBS, Tom McCarthy and Tiki Barber have the call. Now, the Titans, on the early line, were 7.5-point favorites. They are favored by 4.5 right now. 81 degrees in Jacksonville at TIAA Bank Field. And I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans this game. The Titans are on the road for the second straight week. For the third time in 4 games, Tennessee's on the road. They don't travel by stagecoach, but if you look at the comps on teams that play all those road games in a row, typically it does not go well at the end of that. And Jacksonville is coming off a mini bye. They played the Thursday night game against Cincinnati, so they've had a little bit of extra time here. But looking at this game, to me, it's very simple. Will Jacksonville players rally around Urban Meyer with all of the hullabaloo that gas bags like myself have brought up and the .com people have brought up about Jacksonville? This has a chance to be the final game Urban Meyer coaches. If Jacksonville comes out, there's a term called coach killer. It's usually used in the NBA, but this is a coach killer special. And I'm telling you, Gascon, if Jacksonville comes out and lays an egg here and lose this game, and they're down 34-0 or something like that at halftime, and they just get boat raced and don't even try, Urban's fired by Sunday night, Monday morning. He's out. And on the other side, I say the same thing for Tennessee. Could you imagine if the Tennessee Titans, I don't care how many guys are out, if you lose back-to-back to the Jets and Jacksonville, who's lost 19 straight games, if I own the Tennessee Titans, I say, hey, Mike Vrabel, go back and hang out with Bill Belichick. You're fired. Get out of here. You got to fire Mike Vrabel. If you lose back-to-back to the Jets and Jacksonville, that is a sin. There's no mea culpa for that. I understand A.J. Brown I believe he's going to play, right? From what I was reading here, he's got a bad hammy, but he's on track to play. But even if he doesn't play, the wide receiver, Tennessee will win this game. Now, I think Jacksonville will compete for Urban, so I believe Urban will live to coach another day. Tennessee 33, Jacksonville.
Penny's actually going with Jacksonville this one, going with the home team, the Jags.
All right. Yeah, getting over a field goal in a divisional game. Not a terrible bet. Next up, Detroit at Minnesota. You see that Lions team living up to the preseason billing at 0-4. The Vikings. Did you see the line on this? Holy moly. Holy moly here. The Vikings a 10-point favorite. They opened at 8 at U.S. Bank Stadium. The house the Zodiac Killer built. Cloudy, 64 degrees at kickoff. What a great story. Did you see I did a monologue about this. I'm fascinated. So these investigators, they claim they have DNA evidence linking this random guy that died in 2018 as the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, it's good.
The only photo that I've seen of the guy, he was wearing a Minnesota Viking hat. Yeah. It's right up there. It's right up there with Charles Manson being a Sacramento Kings fan. That guy from ISIS, Jihadist John, that was a Pirates fan. I mean, there have been some interesting.
Earlier in the week there was a story about a fugitive. I think you covered it. A fugitive that was spotted at a Dodger game. He was at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, but that turned out to be bogus, though. That guy. They put it on TV and all that, and it was like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, the guy's family reached out to the feds and they interviewed the guy, and it wasn't him.
Oh, I thought it was that dude from Cincinnati, that guy Justin.
They look similar. The guy looks similar.
Do they both have sex with dead bodies?
Wow.
No, I'm just curious. Anyways.
All right. Matt, the Warrior Raider A's fan, says Gascon has the west of the 405 background.
That's Chicago, man.
Pointing out. I'm the brick house is what I am, man. I'm just a brick house over here.
That's right.
I am. All right. So as far as this Detroit-Minnesota game, a couple of flawed teams. Injuries are starting to pile up. for the Lions. I'm taking the Lions in this game, in case I didn't already say that. I'm taking the Lions here. The offensive line is bad. The war of attrition is bad. There's a lot of reasons to take the Vikings, but Minnesota as a favorite since the start of last year with Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer, usually pretty good to bet on. 2-8 against the spread as a favorite. This is a big number, a divisional game. Anytime you get over 7 points in a divisional game, one of the bedrocks of gambling, you take the points and be happy. You don't even look at the numbers, but I'm looking at the numbers. Jared Goff, the only quarterback to lose their first 4 starts of a season despite having a passer rating of 90 or better in each game since 1950. Over 70 years. Now, Jared Goff's been putting up a lot of garbage time numbers, or he'll get off to a good start and then fade in the third quarter, then come back in the fourth quarter. This has backdoor cover written all over it. The Vikings better cover the backdoor. I don't think they will. I've got Minnesota winning, but Detroit getting that backdoor cover. Vikings 31, Lions 24.
Man, Penny's going with Minnesota in this one. A lot of chalk, but they're running with it.
That's a little too much chalk. All right, next up, Denver 3-1. Your Broncos at Pittsburgh 1-3. Brandon Godden and Mark Schlereth. Boy, isn't he a former Bronco? He lives in Denver, Mark Schlereth? Huh.
Hey, he's a former Redskin too, though.
Yeah, I know. But if you're a Steeler fan, you're like, well, we got a Bronco on the game for it, right? You're going to complain about that? That's usually how that works. The game. Now, this is a change. This is another old guy reference here, Gascon. Now, when I was a young gambler, if the starting quarterback for a team was undecided going into a game, you know what they did? They didn't post the line. They took the game off the board.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore because everyone's got a sports book. It's very competitive, so they have to have the line up. They want people to bet no matter what. So the Broncos, the line I have here is Denver favored by 1. Now, you're the Bronco insider, Gascon. Last I looked, as of early this morning before I went to bed, and I only took a nap for a few hours, Teddy Bridgewater was on track to play, but they hadn't named him the starter, and Drew Lock was still a possibility. And I read somewhere that there's a chance that both these guys end up playing. Yeah. Am I right, or has that changed?
I don't think it matters, does it? You're capping this game.
It does matter. No, it does matter. I'll tell you why. If Drew Lock starts, I'm betting the mortgage on the Steelers.
Yeah.
If Bridgewater starts, I'm thinking, okay, Denver's got a shot here. They've got a chance.
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing about this game, right? Benny versus the penny. Start flipping a coin and see what you got.
All right. Well, keep in mind, Denver, the first 3 games against teams that had combined 2-10 record, they finally played a real opponent, and they just went belly up and did not play well. They missed a lot of opportunities in that game, as you know, get on from watching the game last week. The Steelers defense, they're in the middle of the pack. I expect them to be better this week because of the injuries. Denver's pretty banged up here. Not only the quarterback position, but some of the linemen are messed up as well. The recipe here for Mike Tomlin, we know what it is. It's easier said than done, though. If they want to win, defense got to dominate. Special teams, run the ball. Najee Harris is the only player in the NFL to lead his team in rushing and receptions because Charlie Check down there, how many times can Roethlisberger throw down? Have you seen the numbers on Roethlisberger? Holy crap. I've ripped him, I think, every week this season. I've done a monologue tearing into Roethlisberger. Ben on Ben crime here. Pittsburgh has just 6 touchdowns from scrimmage so far this season. That is tied for its worst over the past 20 years through 4 games. And Ben Roethlisberger has the 3rd largest drop in quarterback rating among qualified quarterbacks. The only players that are worse than him are rookies on the quarterback rating. So I am going with Drew Lock starting this game for Denver, or at least playing a big chunk of the game. And therefore, I don't see a path to victory for Denver. Steelers, 19. Broncos, 16.
Penny's going with Denver in this one.
All right. Robbie wants me to slide into the DMs here, Gascon. Should I slide
little odd.
into
It's amazing that you've ripped Roethlisberger all season long, but you failed to acknowledge or trash or rip or even do a monologue on your Rams being pants last week, shoved down headfirst into a bag of sand.
You've already
little appalling.
You're becoming an old man, Gascon. You've already brought that up. We've already covered that, Gascon.
We have not covered it at length.
Yes, we have. The people give the people what they want, Gascon. The people don't want to hear about that. All
it's
right,
fine.
And Robbie, I have seen the story there, and I have to read more about it. That is a good story. It's a Friday news dump. That was my first thought, Robbie. It's a story about John Gruden.
Yeah.
It appears to be a Friday news dump. If there's more to it than just that, yeah, boy, I don't think he's done, though. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal, Gascon. Have you seen this here? Just came, I guess,
I
came
have
out. And it goes back to the NFL lockout. This is a 10-year-old story. And Gruden's accused of using a racist trope in an email. So will that be enough to fire him as coach of the Raiders? Will he be fined? Yeah.
If he was in Washington, yes.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think he will survive this. And the other thing about Gruden is he, as you know from working in the media, he has a lot of friends in the media.
Lots.
So usually when you have a lot of friends, they'll cover your ass. It's typically how that goes. Anyway, I have to read more about that.
Hey, I'm excited for this game coming up, Green Bay and Cincinnati. I think this is actually a really good game.
I am looking forward to this. And friend of the show, Kenny Albert. Kenny Albert will be there calling the game. Jonathan Vilma for Fox. As you see the records, the Green Bay Packers 3-0, or 3-1 rather. They're a 3-point road favorite, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Said the idiot on YouTube. Packers open to 3-point favorite. So this line has stayed the same. Mostly sunny in the high 70s at Paul Brown Stadium for kickoff. I'm taking the Bengals. I'm riding with the Cincinnati Bros. I'm there for Justin in Cincinnati. I'm there for Just Josh and all the other guys that love this show and the Natty. I'm right there. Now, of course, a lot of them aren't even Bengals fans because why would you be when you live in Cincinnati? They're terrible. For example, Just Josh, I believe, is a Cowboy fan. But I'm going to take the Bengals here. Most of the Cincinnati talk's been about Joe Burrow, and he's been great. But did you know that the Bengals defense is ranked in the top 10? They're currently number 7 in the NFL. And this is the daily double. So not only do you get Burrow, but you get the defense, which has been playing better than they're supposed to play. Now, a lot of that is because of the schedule. They played Jacksonville. They played a bad Bears offense. But you play who's on the schedule. Cincinnati also has had a little more rest. We talked about Jacksonville earlier. Cincinnati also played the Thursday game, so they've had a little more time. Secondly, I'm not in on the Packers. I'm not. And they have been absolutely wrecked by injuries. Several offensive linemen still out. The defense, the big ones to me are on defense because you're going against the Bengals with Joe Burrow, pretty good wide receiver core. Jair Alexander, the defensive back, has a bad shoulder. He's out. Zadarius Smith, bad back. He's still out. There's a couple other guys that, as we're doing this, might not play for Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers has not been the man, even though the media loves to slobber all over Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers, while he is the 12th ranked quarterback in the NFL, he has the biggest quarterback rating drop year to year, as he was the MVP last year. Smelly cheese is into the belly of the Bengals. Cincinnati 30, Green Bay Packers 27. The Bengals 4-1.
Penny's also taking the Bengals. Underdog in this matchup, 4-0 in their last 4 games. So going with the home team in this one.
Holy Icky Woods and Boomer Esiason, Batman. The Bengals could be 4-1 after 5 games. Man,
yeah,
craziness. All right, next up, the last of the early games, Gascon. New England 1-3 at Houston 1-3. See the matchup there on CBS. Andrew Catalan and James Lofton have the call on this game. Now, the Patriots opened a 7.5-point favorite, and they are currently favored by 8.5. Now, when I first started capping this game, Gascon, You know what I did? I said, I'm going to take the Texans. No matter what, I'm taking the Texans. And then I kept looking at the numbers. And the reason I was going to take the Texans was simple. Letdown spot for New England, coming off the overhyped matchup, game of the decade, game of the ages against Tom Brady. And so the mental part of this tells you to take Houston. But then you look at the numbers for Houston, and you're like, what are we doing?
Oh,
Okay. Now, I don't trust Mac Jones. Like, I think he's okay. I don't think he's God's gift to the quarterback position. And New England, see, the thing about New England, you're laying a lot of points on the road. They've been a sloppy team. The one game they won, they didn't turn the ball over. The 3 other games they've lost, they've turned the ball over and made a lot of mental mistakes. Un-Belichickian, I would say, for a Patriot team. So that's not a good recipe to cover. But despite all of that, I am going to go against one of my fundamentals, one of the bedrocks of gambling for me on football, and I'm going to lay the big number with the team on the road. And the reason I'm going to do that, I'm going to give you 2 words, Gascon. You ready?
yes.
Davis Mills. Davis Mills, the old Stanford quarterback. I saw a little bit of this game in the second half and he actually played better in the second half. I think he had 3 yards passing and 3 turnovers last week against Buffalo in the first half. It looks like he won a raffle to play quarterback. It's like they had a big raffle, and all right, let me pull out the winning raffle ticket. Okay, you get to play quarterback for the Houston Texans. You put that out there against the Belichick defense. If you look at the Belichick era, in New England, there have been 28 rookie quarterbacks that have started against the Patriots. You know what the record of those quarterbacks? 6-22. The last time a rookie quarterback beat a Patriot team was Geno Smith. So you say, okay, they're not going to win, but maybe they'll cover the spread. Well, in the 22 losses, the rookie quarterbacks have 16 touchdowns and 42 interceptions against the Patriots defense. A passer rating, here's a fun fact, a passer rating of 51.2. That's actually higher than Davis Mills' passer rating right now. He's the worst quarterback in football. This is going to be a ugly affair. Patriots with that methodical, slow-moving, matriculate the ball down the field style. Patriots 23, Texans nothing.
Penny's also going with New England. You think Houston's going to get shut out in back-to-back weeks?
Yes, I do. I do think they will be shut out back-to-back weeks, and there's no reason to think not, based on how terrible, how horrific their quarterback is. Unless there's a turnover, and the only way they'll score is if special teams blunder by New England, and then Mac Jones throwing a pick 6 or setting them up at the 1-yard line or something like that. Man, Jay Scoop says Davis Mills sounds like some kind of bread or cookie company. That's a good call. Yeah, that sounds like you should buy some baked goods.
Yeah.
Like a cake mixer, some kind of cookie dough or something like that. All right, next up, we'll go to the late games. Chicago 2-2 at Las Vegas 3-1 on CBS with Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. Raiders opened a 7-point favorite on the early line. They are 4.5-point favorites in this game. And I am taking Raiders. I'm going against the trend here, Gascon. Las Vegas is 0-6 against the spread as a favorite of at least 3.5 points in recent years with John Gruden. Chicago has also, they've got their own bad streak here. They've failed to cover their past 3 games as an underdog. I'm just betting against Justin Fields. Everyone's all gaga. I think Fields will be okay in time. I'm not guaranteeing that, but he has been the second worst quarterback in pro football. The only one worse was the aforementioned Davis Mills in Houston. You toss in the fact the Bears' offense has been pretty much David Montgomery. He gone, that weird-looking, just goofy, weird, scary-looking knee injury there, which I guess was not as bad. And you have a defensive tackle, Akeem Hicks, who's also battling a groin injury. The Bears, 457 passing yards through 4 games. That is the lowest number for the Bears franchise since 1972. 1972. That's how far you have to go back. I don't think it gets any better here. The Raiders on defense, they had a few issues there. They didn't play that great, I thought, against the Chargers last week. They played well in the third quarter, but that was about it. And this is the Khalil Mack, it's a homecoming game. I'm not sure about that because he played in Oakland. This is the Las Vegas vintage of the Raiders, but he is going against his old team again. And Derek Carr looking to bounce back. His masculinity was called out by Bosa. And I got 2 monologues out of that. Good job by Joey Bosa giving me 2 monologues here. I just don't trust Justin Fields. He's a neophyte. The Raiders coming off a loss. I expect Fields to be sloppy. And I'll take the Raiders 31, Bears 17.
Penny also going with the Raiders in this one. 4-1 is the home team against the spread in the last 5 matchups.
By the way, a lot of love. I think the most talked about quarterback in the chat is Davis Mills. Supermarket Steve says last week he swears he saw Davis Mills handling the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. Well, you could – I thought about this the other day when I was driving by a Chick-fil-A. You could actually work as an NFL player and at Chick-fil-A, as long as you don't play any Thursday or Sunday night games.
It's true.
So you could do that. You just have to practice around your schedule at Chick-fil-A. But you get all the Chick-fil-A, all the barbecue sauce, the honey barbecue sauce, all the honey mustard.
We are running out of time, Chick-fil-A expert.
All right, we're not running out. We got plenty of time. Cleveland 3-1 at the Chargers. You see the record.
Hey, this place is awesome. I piggybacked off of you. I went Monday night. That's a great spot.
Pretty cool,
man.
right?
Yeah. Minus the parking, it's pretty good.
I will be there on Sunday. So anybody listening in the LA area or traveling to LA, any Ohioans who will be at this game, if you want to say hello, let me know. I'll try to say hello. I'll be at the Charger-Browns game. Kevin Harlan and Trent Green have the call. Chargers, this game opened to pick them. Chargers are a 2-point favorite. And I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers here. Myles Garrett, that big bad Brownies defense. They are number 2 in the NFL, yards per game. Baker Mayfield stinks. The Browns, you can get away with this for a while, but it's going to catch up to you. The hide the quarterback offense. He has an injury to his non-throwing arm. But the last 2 weeks, he has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So in theory, the Chargers, who have not been great at stopping the run, should be able to stuff the box with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and at least force. If you're the Chargers and you're Brandon Staley there, you want Baker Mayfield to beat you. And if not Baker Mayfield, you want the backup, Case Keenum to come in and beat you. But I like the Chargers. I know it's a short week and all that. Chargers have been the top team in football, closing out the first half and the second half, plus 53-point differential. Cleveland is 3-11 against the spread, Gascon, their last 14 games against AFC opponents. That goes back to the start of last season. Chargers 23, Browns 20 the final.
Penny also going with the Bolts. Now, you've been accused of pandering to Eddie's wife. Care to comment on that?
Well, Eddie's wife's very upset with me because I sent a photo out on Twitter, which I thought was all harmless radio fun. But apparently, our friend Mrs. Garcia took that very serious. I hope she can overlook that and let bygones be bygones. I thought it was an interesting photo of Eddie. Yeah. He had no arms and no chin, but other than that, it was fine.
Looked a little awkward. Looked like a little slanted weird angle, but yeah.
All right. New York Giants. The New York Giants at Dallas. Pick of the week. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. Cowboys opened an 8.5-point favorite on the early line. 7-point favorites here. 90 degrees outside AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World in Texas. I am taking the Giants Giants. Now, this is another one. Unlike the rank and file, I'm not a believer in the Cowboys. They're a good offensive team. I'll give them that, but they still have holes in that defense. Did you know that Dallas has the NFL's second worst pass defense? They're allowing 315 yards per game. Daniel Jones, now I'm not a fan of his, but he's played better, certainly last week in the Big Easy, and there should be chunk plays this week in Dallas and in Jerry's World. Cowboys, the only unbeaten team left against the spread. They're 4-0. against the number this year. 3-1 overall, straight up, but 4-1 against the spread, or 4-0 rather against the spread. They'll be 4-1 after this game. The Cowboys' weakness, stopping the run. So this is a big opportunity for Saquon Barkley if that trend holds up here. Joe Judge, sprinkle in Daniel Jones. Did you also know, here's another fun fact, Gascon. Daniel Jones, 12 games in his career, he started as a road underdog, 10-2 against the spread. 3-9 straight up, but 10-2 against the spread as a road dog. You're getting a touchdown for the Giants. I think the Giants win this game outright on a late field goal. Giants 27, Cowboys 26.
Sick bastard. Petty's going with Dallas in this one.
All right. And next up, Santa Clara 2-2 at Arizona. 4-0. It's on Fox. Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble guy, have the call. Now, the Cardinals opened up a 2.5-point favorite. They are favored by 5. This is an easy game to handicap. 49ers all day and all night. Give me the Niners. You shake your head all you want. I don't give a crap. Cardinals are due for what's known as the regression to the mean, right? Where extreme outcomes are followed by less extreme outcomes, and the Cardinals, they benefited from the Rams not even trying against them. They're not that team. They're not that good a team. Their record is inflated. The low information fan thinks that they're better than they are. Keep in mind, this Arizona team was going to lose if the kicker had been competent for Minnesota, was trailing Jacksonville 19-10 late third quarter. Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, who had his thoughts on that woman in Ohio and her tuchus, and also was the idea rookie quarterback, and Kyler Murray. You know how many touchdown passes he had against Jacksonville? Zero. He had.
What does that have to do with anything?
And there's a lot of media pandering. Rat poison, as Nick Saban says. The media, like Gascon, the media elites like David, have been buttering up the Cardinals here. I'm rolling with Trey Lance, baby. Give me the rookie quarterback. Run, Trey, run. Run, Trey, run. But the main thing I like here is the 49er defense against the Cardinal offensive line. Dinged up in the middle. Rams didn't take advantage. I believe the 49ers will. The public, because the public, whatever the media talks about, the public bets on. So they're all betting on the Cardinals. Kyle Shanahan, he sucks at home as a coach if you're a gambler, but against the spread, Jay Scoop, our guy, Jay Scoop's in Seattle, but he's a Niners fan. Kyle Shanahan, 15-9 against the spread as a dog in the era there in Santa Clara. 49ers 30, Cardinals 26.
Such a hater. Penny's going with Arizona in this one. San Francisco won 5-1 in their last 7 against the spread in this matchup.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't matter. The Niners are going to win this game outright, and I will not hear a peep out of you. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyler Murray gets hurt. Okay.
What an asshole. What a fucking asshole.
I'm not. No, I'm not. By the way, I have a mute button. You see this? Look.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. You have a mute button on this side too. Now you can't talk anymore. See how cool that is? Now you can't talk anymore. See how cool that is?
You're number one. Look, I'm doing my Russell Wilson impersonation. Yeah. All right. Let's get to the Sunday night game.
Yes, good one.
Buffalo 3-1, Kansas City 2-2. You see the record there. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth on NBC. Now the Chiefs opened up 4-point favorites. They're 2.5-point favorites here. I love Kansas City. It's not just because I do weekly radio appearances on our affiliate there, 610 Sports in KC. I like the Chiefs a ton in this game. People are overvaluing those blowout wins for Buffalo, and they have the number 1 defense in the NFL and all this. They've played Ben Roethlisberger, Jacoby Brissett, stay with me, Taylor Heineke, and Davis Mills. Okay, that's the JV. Now they're playing the varsity. Those are a bunch of lightweights. Now they're playing the heavyweight, Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are 2-2, but both their losses gave the game away. Sloppiness. Charger game, early turnovers, set them behind the 8 ball, and the game against the Ravens where they had the game in hand and then the late fumble by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Love me some Patrick Mahomes. Did you know also this is the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era he started a game at home and Kansas City has been favored by less than 3 points.
That's a shocking number.
Yeah, it's never happened. And Josh Allen, listen, he's been okay the last couple of weeks, and the blowout wins have been fine and all that, but I like the Chiefs to win this game by a touchdown and a track meet. Chiefs 38, Bills 31.
Penny also going with Kansas City. Bills 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 matchups head-to-head.
The thing that scares me here about Kansas City, and I do think they'll win the game, and I think they'll win by a touchdown, the Andy Reid defense. Now, Andy's mostly involved in offense and eating cheesesteak, but the Chiefs have given up 29 points in every game so far this season. And I do think they will give up 29 points or more in this game, but that's a tough road to hoe when you're giving up all those points.
Yeah.
Supermarket Steve says, I can never take your advice on Arizona or the Rams. No, I am an honest man, Supermarket Steve. How dare you? How dare you? Alf, the alien opiner, says, Ben sounds like Cowboy John Brad trying to rattle off dead people's birthdays after being told to wrap it up.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that, Alf, is that we have plenty of time. Gascon made me rush, and we have plenty of time. That's a bad job by you, Gascon.
60 minutes on the clock, man. What can I do?
Man, I'm on time Maller. I'm by the clock, for the clock, plausibly all about the clock.
We'll see. 3 minutes and counting.
All right, Monday Night Football, last game on the schedule. There, you see the records on ESPN with Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick. And Booger at halftime. So I will take the Ravens. Ravens are a 6.5-point favorite. They opened at 6.5. Line's been the same at M&T Bank Stadium. My friend Sports with Coleman will likely be at this game. Mostly cloudy in the 60s at this matchup. And the Colts have been ravaged by injuries. They're playing their third straight road game going back to 2017, Gascon. I know you know this already. NFL teams playing their third straight roadie have put up pedestrian numbers. And certainly gambling-wise, they have not been a great pick at all. And I do not trust Carson Wentz. The Ravens' defense is not what it used to be. But Carson Wentz has had a tendency to urinate down his leg against aggressive defenses. He's got the heebie-jeebies, the butterflies, anxiety. He gets an ulcer, all of those things. And one of the great bets in the last 10 years, probably longer than that, has been Ravens primetime at home. You put Ravens primetime at home, that's a win. With John Harbaugh, Baltimore is 16-2 in 18 home primetime games straight up. Now, I haven't covered the spread in all those, but 16-2 just winning the game. They should go to easily 17-2 here. And the recipe has been run with Lamar Jackson and then mix in the deep throw, the old Al Davis vertical passing offense. 17% of Lamar Jackson's throws have traveled at least 20 air yards, fourth highest for any quarterback in the NFL who started. And that's why Lamar Jackson is in the top 5 in yards per attempt. That's an important statistic. And Lamar is his record in his career, 12-8-1 against the spread as a favorite of a touchdown or more in his career. Ravens 27, Colts 16.
Penny going with Indy. Colts 10-2 against the spread in their last 12 games head-to-head. It's a pretty nice number.
I like that you're wearing the Dodger hat. It's a well-worn Dodger hat.
That's good.
Well-worn Dodger. Now
They got boots to the ground in San Francisco. They got to kick some ass over the next couple days.
I usually sport this. I like the B because it's old school. There you go. Look at that.
It's good.
B there. It's a little worn though. I wear it a lot.
Yeah, you're a little worn too, so it all evens out.
And then this hat right here. I'm wearing this. This is my lucky Dodger hat.
You have such a fucking huge dome, dude. Like just fucking huge.